Good day and welcome to the September 16th meeting of the Citizen Oversight Board. It's been a minute as the board used a previous meeting to conduct the first wave of our strategic planning for the upcoming years and with the holidays. So appreciate everybody joining us today, including Interim Police Chief Ron Thomas, who we welcome to the position and are eager to get to know you and engage with you today. I'll skip board business till the end of the meeting as we're still working on a quorum, but just wanted to give the community a quick highlight on where we are with monitor hiring before we turn it over to discussion with the interim chief. So we, as the community probably knows, we posted the position at the beginning of August. We have been warned that August is a very challenging month for recruitment as with school starting, and it's a very transitional time of year for folks, and so not the best month for recruiting. We are continuing to keep the position open, as we saw August was a tough month for recruiting. We are waiting till we get to a certain number of really high quality candidates before we close and begin to process applicants. So that's sort of where we are, is waiting for a few more folks, and we have an indication that a number of candidates have reached out and expressed interest, and so we're just kind of waiting for that to finalize. At that time, the recruiter will begin to sort of process through applications. We'll give the top candidates to the screening committee, who will then begin to conduct interviews. The screening committee is obligated to give at least 3 candidates to the board, who will then conduct interviews, and then we'll move into a public process from there. So similar to the last time, what's a little bit different about where we are with this time of year is that we are shortly about to get into council budget proceedings, and we have a council member on our screening committee. And then we're about to get into a midterm election cycle. And so from a public engagement standpoint, we want to be sensitive to what else is happening in the environment and what people may be participating in leading up to November elections. And so we may want to have our public engagement after that time, depending on where we are. So just giving folks a little bit of the landscape and timing of what's happening there. But we're feeling good about where we are with the recruitment. August was going to be a hard month. It was a hard month for recruitment, and we expect that to pick up now. So with that, I welcome all of our board members to the meeting and would like to establish a quorum. And I'll move quickly into board business now that we've got our 5th member on board. So if the board had an opportunity to review the minutes from our last meeting, appreciate a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Great. All in favor, aye?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. The motion passes.
So Julia, just to clarify, that would be all of the minutes, correct? All
yes.
From our last meeting, and then from the strategic plan, both strategic planning sessions, correct?
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. I should have articulated that. A couple of other things I want to highlight. We are a strong and mighty board, and we are down a couple of board members, as a few board members have had some transitions to other city boards or life events that are meaning that they're stopping their service on our board. So we currently have 3 board seats available that community members can apply for. The process for applying is listed on our website. It can be long, and we are working on improving that. So like your commitment to that is worth it, because I'll tell you what, the problems that we're working on this board are also long and hard to do. So if you can make it through the recruitment, you've got what it takes to help on the board. So please apply if you're interested. Please send the openings to other community members who you think might be a great fit. We're excited about additional members coming on. Last thing I'll say is that a few board members on this meeting today will be part of a 50th anniversary celebration for Servicios de la Raza. And there's a cookout tomorrow at Chafee Park. And we will have a booth along with OIM. And so if you have questions, comments, feedback, concerns, or just want to meet members of the board, we'll have somebody there pretty much all day at the event. So thanks to the board members who will be there, really excited about that. And, excited to get back into community at this point. So with that, I will transition. Any board member questions on the topics that I just covered? I know I went through those quick. Okay. Let's transition to our conversation with Interim Chief Ron Thomas. Welcome to our meeting. We are eager to get to know you, as I said. If you would like to make any opening remarks, we could start there, or I'm happy to just dive into dialogue with you, however you'd like to proceed.
The only opening remark that I'd like to begin with is, certainly I hope that tomorrow you guys have some snacks or something at your booth, because I plan to stop by. 33-year veteran of the Denver Police Department, began back before there was ever civilian oversight. Certainly have welcomed civilian oversight, understand the value and the necessity of civilian oversight. So it's not something that I'm afraid of, something I think is very valuable for not just the police department, but the community as well. Excited to enter this new role as chief of police, and plan to establish and maintain strong relationships with all organizations and members of the community.
That's great. Thank you. And recognizing that this is the last year of a mayor's term, it's a challenge to step into this role, and appreciate your willingness to do that. It's not every person who's going to take a job for a year knowing that it may end. So I guess I'll start us off with a question, which is, I was sort of reading back through the press event that you did in your nomination by the mayor, and you said something that really struck me, which was, somebody asked, I think, what do you want the police department to be? And you said something like, I want it to be what the people want it to be. And I guess I was going to ask you a little bit more about that. Like, what's your perception of what's needed? What are people asking for of the department? And, how do you perceive that?
So, my perception is that, we do have a lot of work to do relative to improving our image, improving our, public trust in our relationship with community as a whole. I recognize that there are some communities that we have very strong and positive relationships within, but then other communities, particularly marginalized communities, where we don't. And so I want to kind of even that out, so that there is a positive perception across the broad spectrum of communities, and I want I want our department to kind of meet the needs and desires of community.
Just a follow up to that, have you started meeting with community members? What are those conversations like? And can you say a little bit more about that?
I have. So I've met with a number of community groups. I met with the Jewish community, a number of Hispanic community groups. I've gone to CAB meetings and other organized groups. I plan to meet with others in the next week or so. Plan to reach out to Dr. Davis and others that are able to kind of galvanize folks together to come together and ask questions, and so I can hear from community exactly what it is that they want from police. I certainly have my own perspective, but I actually want to hear from community exactly what they want.
Great. I'll ask one more question, then turn it over to board members for. Stefan, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Did you want to finish, Julia? I didn't want to cut you off.
I can ask it later.
Okay. So Chief, thank you for being with us today. You mentioned that you want to balance things out in terms of there are communities that the police have strong relationships with, and other communities, disadvantaged communities, where the relationships are not strong. In your view, and it's great that you're out there getting input. I mean, we think that's critical. In your view, what do you think needs to be done? What steps do you feel need to be done to improve the relationships with certain disadvantaged communities?
Well, I think the first thing I think is, well, maybe not the first thing, but what comes to mind is equity. I think that there is an expectation, a reasonable expectation for equity and consequence. Equity in the style of policing. I also think that it's important, particularly in disadvantaged communities, that there is, and this is something I've already had conversations with internally with our own department members about the need to be sensitive to other folks' lived experience. A perfect example of that in my mind, maybe a lot of you are familiar with the fact that Tay Anderson, school board Representative Tay Anderson was stopped for a traffic offense, speeding through a school zone. And there was an interaction that I think that if you were to look at that interaction, I think initially, maybe to most casual observers, it would appear as though the officer was very polite, very professional in his interaction with Mr. Anderson. But he does make one comment, that I completely understand why that upset Mr. Anderson. And the comment was, the things that he was doing, his interaction with the officer, he made it very clear that he was concerned for his own safety, and commented on the fact that Black men in America get shot during traffic stops, and the officer's response to that, I think it was just kind of an uneducated response, and maybe a thought that didn't come with a lot of forethought. He said, "Well, sir, that's a myth," or something along those lines. And I'd like to think that what he meant by that was, that's not going to happen here. That doesn't happen in Denver, Colorado. That's not something that you need to worry about. But certainly, I can understand how that comment felt to Mr. Anderson, how that seems to devalue his true fears, his lived experience. And so I think it's very important for our officers on the street engaging with folks to really understand, or at least be sensitive to people's lived experience as they're dealing with them.
Thank you, Chief.
I was just going to ask, I'm happy to actually go back to the area that you just sort of keyed into. So, I think where the board's at, where the community's at, in a large part is sort of, we have large systems issues to fix. The creation of the police in the first place, the manifestation of that over time, right? These sort of systems of oppression and white supremacy, and how that manifests in the daily lives of, community members, and particularly community members of color. And, I'm interested in your perspective on that, and what's the systems work that needs to be done with DPD, and, recognizing you have 1 year, potentially more to do that, but like, what's your role in that? And, how do you think about that?
Well, my understanding and perception is that, first of all, I do think that all communities, including communities of color, do want police. Studies have shown that even communities of color either want the same amount of police, or maybe even more police, and I think that's real. And but I think at the same time, they want better police. I think they want better policing. So yeah, I think we need to understand what that means, and understand how to deliver that. And I think that that a much more well-educated and professional police department, I think, speaks to a lot of that. So those are directions that I intend to go. And again, I think understanding folks' lived experience is something that I think that we can do to communicate that we that we are interested in meeting the needs and concerned of the needs of community. I kind of lost my train of thought. Can you restate your question, because that might jog my memory?
It's a big question. The Denver Police Department, along with all police departments, have a history of you know, white supremacy,
Yeah.
structural racism, right, in their
Yes.
creation and in their, you know, activities
Sure.
from the dawn of time to now.
Sure.
And so, you know, what's the work that needs to be done in DPD specifically, right? Like we could talk about like, what is policing, right? But you have a role for the police department, and, you know, what do you perceive as your role in that? And then what is the work perhaps?
Yeah. And again, I think that gets back to, you know, equity of outcome. I think that that's, you know, something that important to establish and maintain. I think that, you know, we need to be responsive to crime. We need to hold those accountable that they're engaged in criminal events, but there needs to be equity relative to outcomes, you know. And so that's something that I really want to dig into and make sure that that's something that we're meeting. You know, something that I think the DA's office has already recognized a need for. They've got a, you know, front-facing dashboard now where they're, you know, publishing, you know, outcomes so that they can, you know, get to and maintain and show the public that the equity of outcome is certainly a goal of theirs.
Happy to hear that. Having worked on that in other communities, I'm happy to partner in any way possible on that. Karen, I see you're off mute. Would you like to ask a question?
I would. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning.
My question goes to the conversation that you anticipate having with Dr. Davis. I'm actually feeling happy that you're going to have that conversation sooner as opposed to later. And I imagine that he will be revisiting with you the list of recommendations that the Reimagining Policing Committee came up with. I want to hear what your attitude is about those recommendations in terms of whether or not you're going to spend time reviewing them or you're going to just continue implementing them. Where will your focus be with regard to those recommendations?
So I am familiar with the recommendations. I actually spent time on the committee for a period of time before the director of safety at the time chose to remove police department involvement from that. But I have read the recommendations. There are a lot of those recommendations which we have fulfilled, and I know that that the Department of Safety in the city is looking at continuing to fulfill a number of those recommendations. So my desire really is recognizing that you know, that these are, you know, community-led, community-formed initiatives. I really intend to continue to engage and continue to work towards you know, accomplishing and meeting a lot of those recommendations. Dr. Davis and I actually have a very good relationship. I first met him and began working with him when we initiated the data collection project, probably, my goodness, 10 years ago, where we worked on a plan to begin collecting data relative to police stops. You know, that work has stopped, but I'm happy to say that we are going to continue to collect that data, you know, consistent with state mandates.
Okay.
Karen, did you have a follow-up or?
You know, I could follow up with whether or not you think that there ought to be additional budgetary funds committed to the recommendations, particularly the training parts of the recommendations.
Certainly. I mean, you know, the budget, I think, is set. It's the mayor's budget. It's not my budget, and I think that that the mayor has appropriately, you know, distributed funds to support you know, all of the city's needs and certainly the police department's challenges. But certainly, I would be supportive of training so that we can get to where, so that we can meet those community needs and expectations. I'd certainly be supportive of funding being directed to us, you know, being able to get there.
I know that training, yeah, Terrence, we'll go to you. I know training is something that we will happily bring up with you as we've had many conversations with Chief Pazin about this. And, it always felt like there was a commitment to a training, but not a follow through in that happening. And, the rationale was always staffing issues. And, if we're going to employ a police officer for a day, would we like them on the street or would we like them in a training? And, I think we continue to see issues with training that manifest. And so,
yeah, and that's fair. I mean, I do recognize that training is very, very important. I mean, we want, the best, most well-trained, police officers out there. But it is a balance. I mean, certainly we need to get them that training, and I can commit to getting officers the training that we feel that we need and that the community has demonstrated that they need. But we still have to strike that balance because we have to provide the level of service that everybody expects as well. So, interested in input on how we get there. Certainly, but never mistake the fact that it takes us longer than others would like to get training with the fact that we just really don't want to do it, because I think, I don't want to speak for Chief Payson, but certainly for me, any delay is not shouldn't be construed as a reluctance as much as it's just I'm trying to figure out how to do it with the staffing that we have, with the expectation relative to response times and reduction in crime is concerned. And I'm hopeful that as we continue to hire officers, we've got 45 or so starting on Monday, as we continue to add officers and relieve some of that workload from our current staff, that we'll be able to ramp up our training efforts.
Mr. Speaker, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Congratulations, Chief, and best wishes for you.
Thank you.
Start this new adventure. I think Julia asked most of my question already, but I wanted to follow up briefly with when you talked about better educated officers. What is that? What do you think that looks like? Because I know there's some departments where there's a formal education requirement. There's some research that shows that if you have officers that even have a 2-year degree, it decreases the risk of use of force, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just trying to get an idea of how you envision that.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with all of that research, and our current contract, well, the contract that's in front of City Council right now actually speaks to our value in education. I think it would be difficult for me to, when I need 188 officers in the next year or so, it would be difficult for me to place an education requirement on hiring. I think that would be, I think that would limit my ability to hire. But we are incentivizing higher education. So the current contract actually incentivizes financially associate's degrees and bachelor's degrees, and I think ultimately we'll even get to master's degrees being incentivized. The other thing is that we have recently partnered with University of Denver to provide, I think, cohorts of 25 4 times a year, so about 100 officers. I think we're going to start with frontline staff and kind of eventually move higher in the ranks, providing leadership training, which I think will be valuable as they progress in their careers, but also very valuable as they engage with citizens even at lower levels.
Thank you.
Sure.
Stefan, go ahead. Yeah, Chief, I want to follow up on, I guess my earlier question and then the questions of my colleagues here. I agree with the statement that you made a little while ago. Yes, that communities of color do want police, but they want better police. They want better educated and better trained police. I completely agree with that. And Terrence's question to you and your response about what better educated police force means. And I think initial training is critical, obviously, before you get somebody goes on the street, but continuing training, including the leadership training that you just alluded to, is also critical, because talk about real life experiences. Well, police have real life experiences while they're doing their job. And it's very important while they experience those that they handle those better, including the incident that you just mentioned that involved Mr. Anderson, in terms of not making statements like that. So, you know, what I'm wondering, I have a really specific question. We had an earlier meeting, and look, there's all kinds of training that would be beneficial. But to reference the recent incident with the shooting in Lodo, we were informed, and I just want to confirm one way or the other, what sort of firearms training do Denver police officers get? And is it online training, solely online training, or do they get firearms training actually, you know, using weapons at a range, etc.? Can you clarify that, the type of firearms training that police officers are getting and have been getting for the past couple of years?
Certainly. So first of all, we have extensive firearms training, live firearms training in the academy. More hours, and I can't quote for you the number of hours, but I can assure you that more hours than post even requires. And so that's what we get on the front end. Behind that, there is you know, qualifications. So twice a year, officers have to shoot to qualify, and they have to have a high passing score in order to qualify. If they don't meet that high qualification score, then there is a remedial training that is prescribed for those officers. There's also I think it's a state mandate that, and Terrence, you might have to help me with this, relative to perishable skills. So perishable skills being shooting, driving, and arrest control. And I think there needs to be 12 hours of those particular skills every year. And some of that certainly is achieved through online training, but other are achieved through live fire events. The other thing that I think is helpful for us, and this is something that we're preparing to push officers through now, is many of you have probably heard of our virtual system, which is our virtual reality system, where people are using simulated weapons to fire at you know, kind of in a virtual reality environment. And so it puts people in those shoot, don't shoot scenarios so that we can evaluate their ability to appropriately decide when to use force and when not to, you know, how, you know, evaluate their ability to de-escalate situations. And so understanding the need to continue to provide people, though, you know, that continuous training on making those decisions, you know, because those decisions, certainly they could happen any day, but they don't happen every day. And so that's something that we recognize that we do need to continue to have officers exposed to, you know, those situations so that they can internalize that and have a better chance of making the not the best decision, but the decision I think that the public expects them to make at the time.
What did you call that training, Chief?
So it's virtual training. So we have actually two now. So we have two virtual systems. They're essentially a virtual reality system where officers take a simulated weapon and they're in kind of a 360 you know, video environment, and they're looking at a scenario that plays out in front of them. And many of these are developed based upon real life scenarios. It could be active shooter scenarios. It could be, you know, officers respond on a domestic and somebody appears in the doorway and then they produce something. And so they're, you know, we need to evaluate what, are they producing something that's a threat to us? Are they producing a cell phone or a driver's license or something like that? So, really putting those officers in, you know, as best we can, a true live situation where they have to determine, is this a situation where I need to use force in order to protect myself or someone else, or is this a situation where it's not a force situation, it's maybe an opportunity for me to de-escalate. So it's something that officers go through in the academy. There's also annual mandatory training that has a component of these shoot don't shoot scenarios connected to it as well.
Speaking of shooting, can you talk a little bit about your perspective on, sort of violent crime in the city, and the, root causes of that? What's your theory on what's happening here?
So violent crime, as we know, is up in Denver, up across the state, up across the country. So violent crime is up. Colorado was actually one of the worst states relative to all crime, including violent crime. And we weren't always there. We have, kind of recently within the last 3 years or so, gotten to that place. And I don't know that it's really necessarily all that important how we got there, whether it was legislative changes that caused that to happen, whether it was progressive prosecution. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't really matter how we got there. I think the challenge is laid out in front of me. The crime has increased, and we need to address that. I do have some thoughts on how to address that. I mean, focusing more on one, the hotspots where crime is occurring, and I think people I think tense up when I say hotspot, because I think they think we're about to over police a neighborhood. I really don't intend to do that. We may have increased presence, but that doesn't necessarily mean increased contact. But certainly presence, hoping that presence provides a sense of security, but also working with our city partners to really do some infrastructure changes that I think are helpful. I think the mayor, in fact, in his budget address, talked about how we are going to be addressing hotspots from a public harms perspective. And so I think a lot of those things can be helpful in reducing crime, particularly violent crime.
Chief, do you think we have a gang problem?
That, to me, that's a nuanced answer. I mean, do we have gang members that cause problems? Yes. Do I think that we have a problem with gangs that we perceive to have had in the 80s and 90s? That's not my perception. But my perception is more so that we have a lot of young individuals that have access to guns, and because of I think the adolescent minds just aren't making good decisions while in the possession of guns. And so I think that has exacerbated our problem relative to youth involved violent crime. I think if I could just add a little bit more to that. I think when I think I've been a police officer since 1989. When I think of gang violence, I think of the traditional Bloods and Crips and territorial battles and battles over what color you're wearing. Much of the violence that occurs now is actually emanates from connections and comments that are made online. Perceived slights that occur whether in person or online, and not the traditional you're wearing a different color than me.
Chief Thomas, thank you. And I just wanted to say thank you for stepping into the role that you have. Obviously, as everyone has mentioned, big shoes to fill. So I really appreciate your willingness to step into this as the interim. Can you talk a little bit about, there was just a lot of sort of political debate around the fentanyl bill and changing sort of like felonizing fentanyl versus other drugs, and your perspective on that, and if it touches at all, sort of in the older drug wars where certain types of crimes became sort of felonized, and how that tended to attack communities of color, and if you have any thoughts about how all that went down this spring in the legislature.
Yeah, so I'm really kind of two minds there. I mean, I am sensitive to things that impact communities of color. But at the same time, I understand the devastation that comes from particularly fentanyl, methamphetamine, understanding that not just one pill can kill, but half a pill can kill, and has in the state of Colorado and in Denver specifically. And I'm certainly willing to debate, but respectful of other people's opinions on this. But I really do believe that penalizing folks at a felony level is more of a deterrent to crime than a lesser level of punishment. And again, I'm not, our focus should not be users or folks that have, substance misuse issues. Our focus should primarily be on those individuals that are dealing, that are preying on our vulnerable populations. So I think that's where our focus should be. But my sort of law and order perspective is that I think that the stiffer penalty providing more of a deterrent is appropriate.
I appreciate that. And I guess following up on that a little bit, what do you imagine or envision as sort of the police department's role in treatment-based options? I mean, because a lot of times I wish it was as easy to determine, this person's a user, that person's clearly a dealer, but a lot of times in the community, people start dealing because they can't support their habit, or they're able to keep a little for themselves. So it's not a bright line. So what is the police department sort of role in all of that, and identifying people who need treatment or maybe started down that path of dealing and that kind of scenario?
Right. Well, we certainly need more support options for folks that have substance misuse issues, but I do think that there is space, and I think we're already taking advantage of this space. Connecting with individuals, coming into contact with individuals that are users and providing them with options, delivering them to the aid center, using the solution center, the LEAD program, substance use navigators. I think there are a lot of options for us that I actually think officers are inclined to use in order to direct those folks that we have identified as users, so that they can be treated for their addictions and their misuse habits, rather than punishing them criminally, because really, again, they're not the target.
Go ahead.
Chief, follow-up question relating to, I guess, training, but also relating to the recommendations that came out of the independent monitors report that identified a number of failures in how the Denver Police Department handled the George Floyd protests in the summer of 2020. No need to go through all that stuff in terms of there were, no accountability with respect to, other jurisdictions coming in and making sure that we had agreements that were enforceable with those other jurisdictions. The failure to, keep track of non-lethal use of force that was used on protesters and the like. It's my understanding that most of those recommendations have been or will be implemented. It's now been almost 2 years since that report was issued. Do you feel, and obviously we welcome your comments on any of that, but do you feel that if a large scale protest happened today in the city of Denver, comparable to what happened in the summer of 2020, that the Denver police force and any outside help that they would get are prepared to handle nonviolent protests in a much different and appropriate fashion?
I have every confidence that our approach and the outcomes will be much different. We've trained for it. We've adopted all of those recommendations. We have employed all of those things in subsequent protests. It has slowed significantly, but there was a period of time where we had regular protests. After the Roe v. Wade decision, there were protests. And so we have, confronted folks that have been inclined to exercise their First Amendment rights while also being opposed to the police and voicing their opinions relative to our presence, relative to our existence even. And I think we've done that appropriately, certainly not to the scale that occurred those first 4 days of the George Floyd protest, but I'm confident that our response will be better. Our response would be appropriate. I'm confident that our law enforcement partners that we have reestablished mutual aid agreements with will also come support us in the way that we expect, the way that the community expects.
Thank you, Chief.
Do you have a follow-up, Stephen?
Different question. Obviously,
Sure.
Alternative ways of responding to particular incidents, and you mentioned the LEAD program. I mean, we're familiar with that, as well as the STAR program. Would like to get your views on those programs, the potential expansion of those programs, and the like. In order to I think it's our view that many stops, and I assume it's yours as well, don't require a police response, but require a different type of response that would be potentially less inflammatory, less likely to result in use of force, etc. Just like to have your views on these alternative programs.
Huge fan of alternative response. Huge fan of STAR. Would love, obviously STAR is no longer with the police department. Would certainly support continued expansion of STAR. Huge fan of the co-responders. We have 40 of them now. That's a budgetary issue. Certainly would be supportive of a continued expansion of the co-responder program, outreach case coordinators, understanding that all of these things create better responses. I'll be the first one to acknowledge that we are not expert at a lot of things, and that although we, because of our 24/7 response capacity, often get called to as first responders to a lot of things that we're not expert in. I'm certainly more than willing to partner with those who are experts, have them either with us or have them responding in lieu of us. So a huge supporter of that. Huge supporter, quite honestly, in various forms of limiting contact. I think there's a discussion going on right now about whether or not officers should be contacting folks for the sole purpose of enforcing jaywalking. I would say I'd be fine if somebody told me to no longer enforce jaywalking unless there was some true safety nexus associated with that, because I don't think that that there is I think that there are opportunities for us to limit our engagement with folks, especially negative engagements, I think is what I'm primarily referring to. I think there are opportunities for us to limit those engagements without lowering our impact on crime.
Yeah, the recent incident, obviously it's outside your jurisdiction, but just highlighted this for me, just for the state, was the Clear Creek incident that happened. That we just were made aware of, where a man was clearly in mental health distress and had an encounter with police. And I know I respect the fact that you will not comment on another jurisdiction and the like, but just a good example of having the right response would have saved somebody's life.
Sure.
My opinion. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And you're right. I won't comment on another jurisdiction, but I will tell you, when the opportunities present themselves, that I don't understand why the officer reacted that way.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I didn't have all of the sensory perceptions that particular officer had, but from my cursory viewpoint, just like yours, I can't imagine why it escalated to that point.
Yeah. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, I know personally I'm getting tired of the officer was afraid mantra, because people are afraid of officers, right? And so, we have tipped the balance a little far on this. Just a question, and maybe we'll, wrap up with one or two more. Appreciate, all the time we've had with you today. What I am not asking you to do is, opine on your predecessor, but what I'm asking in this question is, you're a different person and can make different choices in this leadership role. So are there choices that had been made in the past that you are immediately changing, or, any decisions made recently that you are kind of, taking a different tact on?
Well, I will say this. So I am not Chief Payson. I am my own person. Chief Payson is a good friend of mine, but I internalize things differently. I react to things differently. I certainly have fresh eyes on all of the challenges ahead of us. I do fashion myself as a builder of consensus and someone who is a collaborative worker. And so I really do look forward to collaborating with you all and with other members of the public, other community organizations. And I want to continue to do that. And I actually, kind of welcome differing opinions that just doesn't threaten or challenge me.
Thank you. One or two last board member questions.
Chief, I'm curious to know if you basically will adopt the attitude of the city and the mayor and the police department of the past in dealing with the unhoused population, in terms of contacting them without the intent to incarcerate them, but to simply move them along and to break up encampments without, an understanding of what would happen at the time that you break up an encampment, in terms of providing adequate services for those people that in that immediate crisis?
So let me just say, and I recognize that there's argument around this, but I really believe that the majority of the engagement between Denver police officers and members of the unhoused community is support. We're offering of services. We're encouraging people to find safe shelter options, understanding that there are quite a few barriers out there. I've been to a number of encampments, and while I can appreciate the challenge of someone being displaced from a place where they have kind of set up, these encampments are not healthy, safe places to be. There's a lot of things going on in these encampments, and so I don't think it's appropriate for the city to just allow them to persist. Now, the Denver Police Department is not out, pushing people around. We are certainly, we're really just there to support the effort of Dottie and DDPHE to clean the encampment, continue to, along with, the early intervention team and others, to continue to offer support along the way, understanding that these folks do have to go somewhere, and we're certainly hoping that they go to a more stable and safe situation. So, one thing that I can say, I do have a meeting scheduled here in the very near future with Host. That's an agency that I do support. I do support their direction to find safe housing options for folks that are experiencing homelessness. We really want folks to get off the street and find themselves in a safe situation, whether we're talking about safe from crime and victimization, whether we're talking about safe from the elements. That's really, I think, the goal of the entire city, and so I'm supportive of that.
Any other last board member questions? Otherwise, I could follow up with Karen's question with another question.
Yeah, there's a comment about the fentanyl felonization in the Q&A, just in case no one's seen it yet.
Do you want to read that out loud?
I didn't know I was volunteering, but okay. It's from Elizabeth Epps. Oh, I gotta put my glasses on. Problem with aging.
Sorry.
Comment in that question: to be clear, fentanyl was not so much signaled out as it was a stepping stone to regressing on the failed war on drugs. They're coming back next session to refelonize all simple drug possession.
I don't know if there's any expectation for me to comment on that. I do want to say hello to my friend Elizabeth Epps, someone that I've known for some time and been on some boards with, and unfortunately haven't seen recently, but certainly want to say good luck on your campaign.
Thank you. Just maybe one question to wrap us up, and then we'll give you the rest of your day. My perception, just looking at some math, there's estimations between 30 and 50,000 housing units that the city needs to start to address the issue of folks experiencing homelessness today, and that the current city plans suggest that we'll have somewhere along the lines of 5,000 additional housing units based on the recent changes. So, that leaves, on the low end, a 25,000 housing unit gap, on the high end, 45,000 unit housing gap. And that's assuming the population, sort of stays stable-ish, and, economic conditions remain the same. My personal perception is that's going to get worse. What is the department thinking about in terms of preparing for that? It's not less people unhoused, it's more people unhoused. And, I don't know, personally, I'm getting tired of just big boulders being placed all over the city, right? It's like, this is not a solution, and moving people between the boulders is not a solution. And, if this is getting worse, how quickly can we scale these alternative programs, or, what do you have in mind to actually work on this?
Well, I mean, I think that's really a charge for Host and the mayor, and I certainly will support the things that they elect to do. I think from my perspective, all we can continue to do is provide support, provide options for folks, educate, kind of be there in a compassionate sense. And, if there are more options and alternatives out there, more ways to direct people and encourage people towards supportive housing options or situations, I want those in the hands and in the minds of officers so that they can continue to have that compassionate interaction.
Thanks, appreciate that. And certainly not the last conversation we'll have on this topic. Well, just again, welcome to the position, from the board. We are eager to work with you. Having just gone through the beginning of our strategic planning efforts, we're committed to change in the city, and we want to work with the departments on seeing that change realized. And so, looking forward to open partnership and dialogue on these, sort of big structural issues that our city faces. And thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're welcome to drop off if you'd like.
Okay, all right.
No problem. Yeah, you don't have to wait around for us. Interim Monitor Crittenden, is there anything that you'd like to discuss in the public forum?
I have a case, but because it's still pending, we would need to discuss it in executive session.
Okay. May I have a motion to move into executive session to discuss this open matter?
So moved.
Move.
Second. Sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. This meeting is adjourned. Appreciate everyone's time today and see you in the executive session.